Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. And wow, did I have to scroll in a lot for that to even move. This is my priest, and today I will be going through basically what I've done for him on TellMeWhen. It's not particularly amazing, but it's just sort of the setup that I'm currently using. I will most likely add to it, and all of that kind of stuff. But for the most part with TellMeWhen on my priest, as a healer, I find that I want to be tracking the cooldown so that I can use things, BAM! As they're ready, particularly mana cooldowns. I love using Penance because it is like the coolest spell in the universe. I don't care if it's not the most efficient or whatever. If you don't like it, you know what? Something's wrong with you, because Penance is awesome. And I'm not just saying that because the animation is the most amazing thing in the universe. You're like throwing lobs of light at the person. I'm getting distracted again, yes. /TMW for TellMeWhen. And of course, if you don't have the add-on, go get it. There should be a link in the description. It's a pretty fantastic add-on, and I have done a lot of guides on it just to kind of... Yeah, I think that most people would know that I think it's a fairly fantastic add-on, just by the sheer number of guides. I'm getting distracted again. Alright, so I have Prayer of Mending. You've got the spell cooldown, choose spells to check, Prayer of Mending, and then you can have Show Timer and Show Timer Text if you want. I only have it showing when it's usable, so having Show Timer and Show Timer Text, not really something that I need a lot. If this is going too fast for you, watch the basic guide, and then hopefully you can come back to this and it should be a little bit better. And then basically we can go to Cascade, which is what I'm using at the moment. I don't... Halo's okay, but I like Cascade because it's not dependent at all on positioning like the other two, which is why I like it. Though Halo just does look amazing. Anyway, so it's pretty much the same setting as the Prayer of Mending, and the reason I like to have it there is that I can know exactly when it's ready, so I can be like, oh, there's a lot of AoE damage, and look, it's off cooldown, Shazam, let's go and cascade people. That was the wrong button, wasn't it? Why didn't it? Oh, of course, it's not showing because I've got it in configuration mode, but it should have disappeared. See, it's disappeared, that's amazing. And then the next thing is the Mind Mender. If you have the Shadow Fiend, well, if you don't have this talent, you'll have the Shadow Fiend, so you'll need to monitor that cooldown instead. But I am using Mind Bender, and it has a fairly short cooldown, and it's all about getting the mana, and obviously you never want to run out of mana. So basically, once my mana starts to drop a bit, I'm using Mind Bender on cooldown as it's ready. Shazam! It is being used, which is pretty fantastic. And I've got him on here as well, which is a fairly long cooldown. Generally, you won't be able to use it more than once in a fight. I have it partly there just in case it does become ready. But it's also partly there just so that it's saying, you haven't used me yet in this fight. You should be using me. I'm a very powerful mana cooldown. Please use me. And that's basically just there to remind me to actually use it. And then you've got Penance as well, which is spell cooldown Penance. They're pretty much all just spell cooldowns. That's generally what I do for healing, is I just want to see the spell cooldowns. And I've got Pain Suppression here. Again, spell cooldown just like the rest. And I've got Power Infusion as well as you've got Inner Focus, because you want to be using Inner Focus pretty much on cooldown and just have it ready almost all the time, with the exception of fights such as Thok the Bloodthirsty, because once you've used Inner Focus, it will prevent you from getting interrupted for... how long is that? 5 seconds. And yes, I have tested it out. It does work on Thok, though I've only healed on LFR in this guy, so I can't say what it is for normal, but it should protect you on normal. Once it starts getting a bit intense, Inner Focus, and then you're protected from interrupts for about 5 seconds, so that's like maybe 2 to 3 casts, depending on what you're using, I suppose, and it's pretty useful. It really is. And then I've got Arcane Torrents, because I am a Blood Elf, and you can add all kinds of things to this. You can add Fear Ward, you can add Leap of Faith, you can add Barrier, you can add Desperate Prayer, you can add pretty much anything that you are just forgetting. And you can even add some of the things that maybe you want to track your focus target. Maybe you've got the main tank or the current tank on focus, and you can track whether they've got their HOTS on them. I don't tend to need that because on Healbot you can see the HOTS and everything pretty well and easily. But I just find that the setup works for me, and I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I can really feel like would need to be added. Not really. You can add whatever else that you really need to have added. Maybe you never ever use Void Shift because you never ever think of it. Maybe you want a giant Void Shift icon the size of... why is it always Texas? I was about to say Texas again. Let's say something else. The size of San Francisco? I don't know. New York? Think of something. Think of something like where you are. your biggest city that you can think of. That is the size of the icon that you want to remind you to use Void Shift, because you never remember and you want to use it. So yeah, you can just sort of slap that on your bars or whatever, and you've got Fear Ward, which is always fantastic, and of course you've got Spirit Shell, which is kind of nice to be using on cooldown. So you can add whatever it is that you want added to on this thing. One of the other things that if you are a Disciplined Priest, you might be using a little bit of Atonement sort of mixed into the rest of what you're doing. You might want to be tracking that and the stacks of those as well. So we're going to fly outside, and I'm just going to show you quickly how you can track those, because I can't remember the name of the buff, so I have to run outside, run over to a dummy and just smack him in the face. Those poor dummies, think of what they've sacrificed to make you a better warrior. Even if you're not a warrior, you're still sort of a warrior, as in, you know, fighting stuff. So it's just, there we go. And it is called, yeah, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to get tongue-tied. I just know I am. I'm in a very tongue-tied mood today for some reason. There we go. And you're going to go down to buff/debuff, player, and let's go with Van. There we go. Enter. We can have show timer and show timer text. I would say, you know, you want it showing the timer and show timer text because you want to make sure that you can keep that up, make sure that it's refreshed and not just going to fall off without you using it with your Archangel. You can also track that's cooldown if you want to, and that's pretty much all I really want it for. So now if we go like this, there we go, and I can see one stack. You might want to get rid of the timer text because it interferes with the text of the stacks, and you can just have the sort of timer ticking down. I can sort of see it without it, and I do like the timer text, but I also feel that sometimes the timer text on stacks grates on me, so you can take that away if you want to. You just get rid of the timer text. Not very difficult to do. And of course, let's go through everything so you can see it coming off cooldown. And there we go. See? And everything's sort of popping back up now, and you can just keep using Prayer of Mending, which is always fantastic. So that is all I have for you today on Disciplined Priests. If there is other stuff that you want me to have a look at, other add-ons, then feel free to suggest stuff. If there's anything you're having particular trouble with, put it in the comments, and I will do my best to help you, though I don't know everything about TellMeWhen. I know a fair amount, and, you know, I can help. Just a little bit. Maybe someone else can help as well. And, of course, you do have the add-on developer. I'm sure if you ask them a question, they will probably get back to you, because they're pretty good at that kind of stuff. And it is a fantastic add-on! So, thank you for watching this video, and I hope that these little cooldowns and monitoring all this stuff your Disciplined Priest improves your healing, because I always found it to be very, very helpful. And that was the thing that enabled me when I was playing a priest on the PTR. It was the thing that enabled me to get Proving Grounds Gold. It went from being pretty tough to actually quite easy because of me. I just had, if you look at that Proving Grounds healer thing, you'll just see that it's just TellMeWhen everywhere, tracking everything. And that enabled me to use all of my cooldowns. And like I said, it's partly there so I can know when it's ready, and it's partly there to kind of nag me and saying, you haven't used me yet. You still haven't used me yet. Why haven't you used me yet? And it just sort of nags me until I go, fine, damn it! I'll use you! There we go. You can see you've been used. You happy now? And then in 6 or 5 or 4 seconds it will say, no, I'm not happy. Why haven't you used me yet? And then I will strangle it. Because it's a very, very... Look at that. Prayer of Mending is just so horrible. It's like an old woman constantly nagging. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and cheerio.